when I was younger, we were staying in this one place that was up on like this hill, right? And it didn't have curtains either. I remember we pinned towels to the wall because there was no curtains or blinds or whatever. This little fucking single wide. And I remember we'd open the windows in the summer sometimes, like while it was cooler out, right? You open the windows while it's cooler out, like in the morning and at night and stuff. And then once it starts to get around like 10 a.m., you close the window and you put towels over the windows to block the sunlight. Well, apparently one of the neighbors down the hill would like spy on us. And he just kind of casually admitted this too, that like he just like watched through our windows sometimes. And I'm sitting here wondering, what the fuck? We're on a hill. We can't see your place through the trees. This motherfucker must be using binoculars or a fucking telescope or some shit to be watching into our goddamn windows. Because we're like in the middle of the fucking woods on a hill. And you're... What do you mean you saw us through the windows? What? Yeah, I didn't... I think maybe that was... I don't know. Might have been a catalyst for a lot of my future beliefs growing up. Why did he admit this? He was just a really friendly guy that said things sometimes that didn't perhaps come out right, maybe? I don't know. He had a pet redwood tree and he kept a dog tag on it. And I think the dog tag was like from his friend or something. I remember. This was like, we had like 3.5 acres or something. I said we had, again, it was renting. But I'd be like running around and stuff on this hill. And it was cool. There was like a little mine and stuff. There's an old little mine thing. And I remember going into the mine and just sleeping in it sometimes. Because it was cool. Like literally cool. Like colder. So during the summer, it'd be like nice and dark and damp and cool. Anyways. So, one of the times, like while I was running around and stuff, he like emerges from the fucking trees. And I'm like, hey, what's up? I can't remember his name. But he's like, oh, not much, and we're chatting. And I have my cat with me because I had a cat at this point, and the cat was more like a dog than it was a cat. So the fucking cat would just like follow me around like a goddamn dog. It was so cute. So I'm like chilling. It's me, my cat, and this guy who emerged from the trees. And he's like, you want to see my redwood? And I'm like, yeah! And so he takes me deeper into the forest, and there's like this little clearing here. I'm just chilling with my cat, looking at this redwood sapling. A little redwood sapling. Like a little actual tree, racing. This little tree, and he's got a little dog tag around it, but it's a sapling, so it's not big enough to actually hold the dog tag. And he's got like some little like sticks and stuff around it, and he's like, this is my redwood tree. And I'm like, whoa, that's cool. I forget what we talked about other than that. He invited me over to his house to have popsicles, and I was like, I don't think my parents would like that. Like, I'm good right now, but thank you. Thank you. And then I told my mother, and she was like, you are absolutely not going over to that man's house for popsicles. And I was like, yeah, that makes sense. I can understand that decision, actually. That makes sense. I can see where you're coming from. He was an interesting fella. He was an interesting fella. Pudding pops. Oh god. How old were you, Pippa? I think this was middle school. Like very early middle school. We weren't there for that long. No, you wanna know why I'm really paranoid about open windows? One time, at this other place, this is the one where we lived across the street from a pedophile who invited me to help him move and sold me an iPad, or not iPad, but sold me a tablet where he had looked for child porn on it. Anyways, that's how I found out he was a pedophile. Anyways, so one time, I'm home alone, right? I'm home alone, and we live in this area. The cops called it the Twilight Zone. We found out later there's a cute little nickname for the area that I lived in. That's nice. That's nice when you're talking to the police and they're like, yeah, we have a name for these parts. And I'm like, oh, like the street name, right? Or like the district? And they're like, no, we call it the Twilight Zone. I'm like, okay. So anyways... I'm home alone. And I'm taking a shower, believe it or not. I'm taking a fucking shower. And I hear, like, the front door. And we have a storm door. That's what it's called. We have a storm door and we have like a regular door. And I hear the front door and I'm like, oh shit, my parents are home. That's weird. And I like open the window of the bathroom and I look out and I'm like, whoa, that must be my dad. And this is middle of the fucking night, right? This is middle of the goddamn night. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I quickly put on some clothes and I go and I open the door and there's nobody there. And the truck's not in the driveway. And I'm like, huh. So I text my parents and I'm like, are you home? And they're like, no. And I'm like, okay, all right. So I close the door and I make sure the storm door is locked and I make sure the regular door is locked and I'm checking the back door and I'm making sure that's locked and I'm checking the garage door and I'm making sure that's locked and then I check the inside of the garage door and I make sure that's locked and then I pull out the gun and do a nice little perimeter sweep of the entire inside of the fucking house. Little did I know, this is a little trick called foreshadowing. That's called foreshadowing. Because little did I know that things were gonna get much more weird. And that I hadn't just been hallucinating. Most likely, somebody had actually been at the door. I don't remember if this is a couple months later, a couple weeks later, whatever. I'm sitting in the living room. I think I'm playing with my ferret. And I'm watching some shit with my mother. I don't remember what. Some garbage reality show, probably. And we start to hear this like scratching sound and I'm like, the fuck is that? Is Pipkin back? Is there a cat outside? And Mamakin's like, oh, it's probably just one of the neighbor cats. And we keep hearing it and there's some tapping on like the window right next to the door. And so Mamakin's all confused and she's like, well, where's the cat? And I'm like, well, our cat's inside. And is this the milk story? This is the milk story. This is the milk story. So, Mamakin opens the front door. It's not a cat. That's a drugged up neighbor with his cock out. Ah! He has his pants undone. And he was standing there scratching at the front door for like half of an hour to an hour. I don't remember how long exactly it was. He's like scratching at our door. And we were like, it's probably just a cat. It'll fuck off eventually, right? No! That's our drugged up neighbor scratching on the fucking door with his dick out. And so Mamakin is kind of standing there in shock, and I'm looking over. I'm like, what's going on? Who's that? And I kind of peer around, and I'm like, okay, never mind. And I grab my phone and I go and call the police and stuff. And she's talking to the guy. And he's asking for milk. He wants milk. He's like, I'm really thirsty. Do you have anything to drink? I want some milk. And Mamakin's like, yeah, I'll get you some milk. And realistically, in hindsight, she should have closed the door and just fucking locked it. But on the other hand, this guy's zoinked out of his mind, so maybe you should just give him some fucking milk and he'll fuck off. She gives him like a mug full of milk. Fun fact, the drugged up guy asking for milk with his dick out on our front porch, who had been scratching at the door for 30 minutes at the minimum, had gone to an old lady's house. Just down the road, like a few houses away from us. And he had entered her house, sat on her couch, and drank her milk. And I think he had also masturbated on her couch or something. I don't know. Point is, this is like an 80-year-old woman, and he just walked in, stole her milk, and yeah, now he was at our house. So anyways, the cops come. They take like 2 hours because we live in the fucking woods. By this point, I think Mamakin and I had like holed up in the bathroom with the gun, front door closed and everything. The cops get there and they're like, yeah, he did this to other people, blah 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 blah. And I don't think anything really came of it. I don't think anybody actually got arrested or anything. I don't know how you follow through on that kind of thing. I don't know how you find out like what actually happened to the fucking streaker or flasher at your house who wanted milk. I don't know. Anyways, one of the issues was Mamakin didn't tell him to leave, that he was trespassing. So, and she didn't think to lie to the cop to say that she had. So the cop was like, well, technically, you don't have any no trespassing signs here, and you didn't expressly tell him to leave, so I'm just sitting there like, is that really... Yeah, are you for real? Do you really have to ask somebody to... I don't know. I don't know. Personally, yeah, I'd be kind of scared if I say, please leave, that the drug addict is going to attack me with the mug I just gave him. Or maybe just attack me with his hands. I don't fucking know. I don't know. That's how trespass works, I guess. Yeah, damn a technicality. I don't know. But I would think he'd at least get arrested for breaking and entering into the old woman's house. Like, that should count for something, I would think. I don't know. I don't fucking know.
Everybody, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to Low Effort Clips. That's right, Low Effort Clips, right here on YouTube.com. Yeah, and hit the notification bell. Yeah.